Okay, let's start up again. Let's continue where we left off. Lucette made her way out to the forest, so I make my way to the forest clearing. In the dark, everything feels a lot more comfortable. Here, I do not have to pretend to listen to anyone. And I do not have to talk about myself. I settle down on the rock and stare up at the sky. I apologized, but Anise did not even understand my apology. And even now, I still could not bring myself to trust those at the Machen. I sigh and find myself speaking aloud. Maybe I am the Ice Princess. Yes, Rumpel. Ah, but have you seen the beautiful sculptures that can be made from ice, Princess? What is he doing out here in the forest? I turn to see Rumpel walking toward me, a broad grin on his face. Ice always sparkles in the sun. It glistens and stands so proudly where it's been sculpted. I stare at Rumpel blankly. He sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry. That one was particularly bad, wasn't it? He sits down beside me and his grin falters a little bit. Oh, what a pretty picture. That's Rumpel sitting next to Lucette. I have no white lilies to give you this time, my sweet princess, but I will offer anything else you would need for me to apologize for my advice earlier today. I could offer anything, my words, my body. I cut Rumpel off, as I am not in the mood for his usual behavior. You are always like this. All you ever do is flirt. Any meaningful thing you try to say is lost in the flattery you constantly give to people. It is shallow. You're right. What? I stare at him. Rumpel is still smiling, but it is not the same confident grin he wore earlier. Somewhere deep in my memories, I remember someone telling me off just like this. Many people enjoy flattery, Princess, and a lot of people are receptive to flirting, but nothing can measure up to a genuine compliment. But I stand by what I said before, in that making a person happy is a good deed. Look, I'll show you. Rumpel shifts so that he's looking right at me, and I notice that his smile is gone. Lucette, of all the women I've met, you are the most straightforward and honest. Many do not have the courage or confidence to exhibit those qualities. And that's why I admire you, and why I will always take your words to heart, because I know you will always speak the truth. I look into Rumpel's eyes, which still have a gentle shimmer despite the darkness. For a few moments, his words float around in my head. No one has ever called my bluntness honesty before. No one has ever complimented me for it. Rumpel told me before that I deserve to be spoiled. Maybe it's because he sees the things I do in a more positive light. That's right, Rumpel did try to give her a lesson in accepting compliments and accepting a little spoiling now and then. Okay, back to Rumpel. My, you're struck speechless by that, aren't you? You look cute with your cheeks so rosy, my sweet princess. I glare at him, and Rumpel just laughs in response. I put a hand to my cheek, suddenly self-conscious. Rumpel smiles at me, but it's not the usual playful smile. Right now, he almost looks serious. Did he mean what he just said? I have a choice. Ask him if he meant it, or tell him off. I don't want to tell him off. I think he really meant it, so... Did he? Yeah, I think he did. I'm going to ask him if he meant it. Did you really mean that compliment? Of course I did. I told you, right? Making a person happy is a good deed. I wanted to show you that. Rumpel's compliments do make people happy, even if I do find his words to be very shallow, but that felt different. Flattery is wonderful, but it usually only concerns complimenting a woman's physical appearance. Though I do that really well, don't I? Earlier, I bet you made Anise really happy too. You were spying on our conversation? I would never. I just happened to be making my way down the stairs very slowly. You don't even know what I was apologizing for. No, but you thought you had to after you listened to it, didn't you? I listened far more than you do. Princess, you shattered my heart so many times there are permanent cracks. But do not worry, the cracks in my heart allow even more of you to make your way into it. Well, that sounded bad. Rumpel awkwardly laughs when I remain silent. Anyway, there are different kinds of listening, Princess. Listening to sympathize is one kind. Trying to put yourself in someone's shoes, trying to understand them, that is one of those ways. Then there is the kind of listening that is shallow. One pretends to listen without ever letting the words into their heart. Words are fickle things. Mother always told me that people lie, and that they would say whatever benefited them. It is foolish to trust words. What if Anise had been lying to me? Why would I put so much blind faith in people? Because more often than not, people are good, Princess. I let out an exasperated sigh. Sometimes I cannot tell if I'm angry or confused by Rumpel. Ah, what a beautiful sound. It was as if the sweet wind itself was gently tickling my ear. I slide away from him and scowl. Your scowl was adorable too, and you have such delicate lips. Why, I am still convinced that his earlier compliment was just a lie. How could he say something genuine and then slide right back into this pitiful flattery? For a moment, silence falls. I find to my surprise that it is not awkward being alone with Rumpel. Will you accept my apology for earlier? I promise I'll never try to get you to flirt with anyone ever again. Besides, if you flirted with another man and then grew fond of him, I would be devastated. That would never happen. You didn't let me finish. I was going to say that I would be devastated because that would mean that your heart belongs to someone else. And my heart belongs to no one. I will steal it, like a thief in the night. That will also never happen. If not that, then I'll settle with making you smile at least once. Because I'm sure you would shine as brightly as the sun if you smiled. You are unreasonably persistent. Love is a persistent endeavor, Princess. A man in love stops at nothing to win over the woman that he so adores. Then you must be in love with many women. I stand up. I would appreciate you just complimenting me when you mean it. But Princess, I mean every one of my compliments. I have no energy to chastise him right now, but at least I no longer have that anger inside from earlier. It's been a long day, and I'm going to bed. Would you like company? I didn't mean... Good night, Rumpel. Good night, Princess Lucette. I make my way back to the tavern, feeling surprisingly light. Still, even if Rumpel's words might make me happier than I care to admit, he's not doing a very good job of helping me with my curse. I might have to do this on my own after all. Chapter 5. The Doctor. Okay. We're in town with Rumpel, I guess. Rumpel, what a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. I cannot help but groan at Rumpel's optimism. Because we were both sent out to run errands. Because everyone thinks we make a wonderful couple. No, because we're partners. Partners, a couple, it may as well be the same thing. Half of the time Rumpel says some deep things, but then he says things like that. It is like he has two personalities. No, it's not the same thing at all. I take out the list and scour it for the things we need to buy. More than half of it is already crossed out. I glance at the bags Rumpel is carrying. He refuses to let me carry any of them, insisting that it would be impolite to force the load on me. It's quite different from Calmer, I'll tell you that. That leaves me with list duty. This is a lot more laid back than what I have to do at the marché. Okay, now we have the general medicine restock for our niece. My area of expertise. Never fear, my sweet princess. I will find everything we need. We already have a list. But Rumpel just hums enthusiastically as we continue on our way. And I am not entirely sure if he heard me or not. We arrive at the little medicine shop in the central plaza. Oh, some man here. A man exits through the front door, coughing so loudly people turn their head to stare at him. I wait for the man to pass, so that I can open the door to the store, but then I notice that Rumpel hasn't budged beside me at all. His eyes do a quick scan of the man before he slowly begins to walk toward him. Sir, you are sick. Yeah? What's it to you? Even if I was sick, lad, there's nothing I can do. If I don't have any money. Besides, it's not like this will kill me. It's just a cough. How long have you had your cough, sir? Seems like such a minor thing, but Rumpel suddenly looks so serious about it. He looks at the man with his eyes slightly narrowed, as if trying to see past him. Man, it's been with me for more than 3 days. Coughs are pesky things, aren't they? They're usually the last thing to go, but at least they're not deadly most of the time. Even if you can't buy the medicine, sir, there are other at-home remedies that might help you with your cough. Man, boy, I've already tried warm tea. My wife's given me enough of that. Water is good enough for your throat too, sir. Any kind of steam works too. If the cough is riddled with mucus, it'll be easier to expel with steam. When you can't afford the medicine, sometimes the simple things will help. And coughs stay for a while, so don't fret if you can't get rid of yours immediately. Well, I appreciate the advice. Not exactly what a doctor would tell me, but it'll have to do. The man thanks Rumpel before walking off. I notice Rumpel looking down at the ground, a rather forlorn expression on his face. Is what he said true? About what, Princess? About doctors not giving you advice about at-home remedies. Most of the doctors don't believe in such things. They always think that medicines work better than at-home or herbal remedies. The medicines do help, but sometimes they aren't necessary. Yet you just gave him advice. Not everyone can afford medicine. Being a doctor means helping people, not taking advantage of their sickness to steal their money. Money was never a problem at the palace. Whenever I was sick, the palace staff made sure I had the best and most effective medicines. Do you remember what you were like as a doctor? I wanted to help everyone that showed up at my doorstep. Sometimes I couldn't, and it frustrated me. I prescribed medicines when necessary, gave advice other times, and when things were dire, I performed small operations. He does seem a lot more serious when he's talking about health. Rumpel was silent for a few moments before his eyes lit up once again. Anyway, shall we go stock up on our medicine? I thought you said medicine wasn't always helpful. Because it's not, but I also know that Denise uses mostly herbs, and that she tries to handle things without too much medication. She's quite capable. Here's a new place. Some apothecary shop, some kind of medicine shop. Some bottles all over the place. And I don't know if that's a real owl or a stuffed owl, but okay. We enter the shop, and in no time at all, Rumpel spots the items on our list. Use up the rest of our money to buy medicines and remedies that we need. Then we begin to head back to the tavern. Oh, is that all? I thought there'd be a shopkeeper or something. On the way there, Rumpel strikes up a conversation again. So, Princess, have you given any thoughts to what I said before? About what? You've already forgotten? About making people happy. What? You know, you can make me happy right here and now by giving me a kiss on the cheek. I stared blankly at him before walking away. No, thank you. And alas, my hopes are dashed again. When we are at the outskirts of town, I pause and turn around. It is as if I can feel eyes at my back, but I do not see anyone openly staring at me. Is someone watching me? Suddenly, I feel warmth in my hand, then fingers interlaced through mine. Rumpel pulls me a little closer, his expression oddly gentle. Don't worry, my sweet princess. You're safe with me. Suddenly, his face is a lot closer to mine, and I can see his features more closely. It is like the night in the forest, except his face is not marred by the same shadows. There is caution in his eyes, but it is not directed at me. Did you see someone following you? No, I just thought I felt someone looking at me. Better to stay together then. We begin walking again. The two of us begin to head back to the Machen. Rumpel has all the bags in one hand now. He hums a little bit as we walk. It is remarkably peaceful, so much so that I do not even mind him holding my hand. It suddenly feels a lot safer. I am so lost in reverie that I do not even notice when we turn and go in the opposite direction. Oh, we're in some kind of forest. Looks like the night forest, but it's daytime. It's a nice green forest. Okay. Lucette, this is not the way back to the Machen. On the contrary, it is just a more scenic path. Don't you like the forest, princess? The shafts of light coming in through the canopies, the soft blades of grass that tickle your ankles. It is such a romantic place. No matter what he says, this does not lead back to the Machen. It is not a scenic path, or a path at all. You have a choice here. Stop walking or keep walking. He chose this place for a reason. I think he knows. I think he thinks someone is following them, so he's walking through the forest either to lose them or to see if he could see them. So let's keep walking. That way we could see if someone's following us. It is picturesque, isn't it, princess? It is, but this still does not lead back to the Machen. No, but I figured taking this detour is safer. If someone was watching you, they're less likely to follow us straight to the Machen. Safer. But is it just the two of us? I have faith that I would be able to protect you, princess. Also, the forest is a maze in and of itself. I suddenly stop and let my hand fall away from his as I stare up at him. I wasn't expecting that level of cleverness from Rumpel. Rumpel looks proud of himself. He takes a step forward, bridging the short distance between us, and then suddenly his fingers are around my wrist again. But he does not lace his fingers through mine. Instead, he takes my hand in his. Then he pulls it up to his face. Before I realize it, my hand is on his cheek, his hand cupping my own. Oh, what a pretty picture. It's a picture of Rumpel. He's standing there. He's holding her hand on his cheek, He's smiling. And he has purple eyes, I just noticed. Princess, you can trust me. Always, I mean. I can sense that sometimes you trust me, sometimes you don't. But But you don't need to be so cautious around me. I shower you with compliments because I believe you deserve them. I tell you that I enjoy being around you because I do. I should be focusing on his words, but all I can look at are his eyes. What do I need to do for you to fully trust me? Mother told me that people lie, so how can I trust that everything he says is the truth? Perhaps if I stopped throwing compliments at you? You would not be you without all the compliments. What am I saying? I always complain about his compliments, but the thought of a Rumpel without compliments is strange. So you do enjoy my compliments, sweet princess? No, why? What? Words have deserted you? I understand. Being so close to me would have that effect on any woman. Something bright and angry flares up inside of me. Something that I don't understand. I pull my hand away from him, a scowl on my face. Was it my big mouth again, princess? Come on, let's just head back to the machine. I stop walking ahead, and Rumpel rushes to catch up with me. I clench my fingers and let out a silent sigh. Rumpel was being nice to me again, but I always reject his kindness. Because it cannot be real. Okay. We'll go on for a tiny bit. It's getting on 30 minutes, but no, actually, you know what? This is a good place to stop here. We're back at the tavern, and she's saying days go by, so this is probably a good place to stop for right now. Excuse me. My voice is starting to go too, so I hope you enjoyed listening and seeing a path with Rumpel. Let's take a moment for a second to think about things for a minute. His compliments, he does seem to do them, even though he does them sometimes shallowly. He does seem to do them from a good place. He does seem to want to help people and make them happy and make them smile. Well, women at least, anyway. So, there is that. And he is right. It is, he can help her break her curse a little bit by helping her to make people happy. That is true. So he isn't as shallow as he seems. I mean, he does seem to, when he is a doctor, when he's like remembering his doctorly advice and things, he does seem to be a good doctor after all. Think about it. He wants to help real bad, and he wants to help people, and he knows that people don't have money all the time, and he gives them advice for herbal remedies and things to do even if they don't have any money. So, I mean, in that regard, he seems to have been a very good doctor. I mean, so part of me thinks I don't know how he went from being such a serious and good doctor to like this weird shallow flatterer. I don't know how that occurred. I wonder how that came about. Or if he's just doing that. But anyway, we'll see next time. So thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe and all those nice things. And I hope you have a nice evening or day. For me, it's evening, so I hope you have a nice morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. So, this is goodbye, and I'll see you soon.